And we are live. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the final stream of the season of this year. I mean, it has been a good year for the channel and all that. And we are gonna be and today we are gonna be previewing a very important border battle today. Going to be the first game of the new year. And talking about New Year, my next guest is currently in the New Year, as he would say. So let's just bring him on. Luke, how are you?
Salute.
Salute.
Coming,
So
coming from 2 different years.
Yes, 2 different years. How's the future, man?
It's mid, but I guess that's at least better than 2022. How are you
doing? I'm doing good. I am doing pretty good myself. Just I'm waiting to hopefully get this year done and over with. And we're gonna be just move on to this next year. And hello,
Hey,
Kip. Hey, Kip. Yeah.
Doing well here. Definitely feeling a hell of a lot cleaner than the last time I was on your show.
Yes. For people who don't know, last time after week 1, recap or Viking jersey. Yeah. Hello, Sean. Hello.
Hey, Sean.
Yes. So the
exactly true north.
We will get to that. We will get to that. But what isn't fraud? What isn't a fraud is this hat that I just got in today, NFC North Champs. I didn't get the shirt today, but I got the hat. So we're here for that. But
that has nothing on cheese.
Has nothing on cheese, right? Nothing on good old Wisconsin cheddar.
As much as I love the cheese head, it's not overly comfortable with the headphones I'm using, so I am going to take it off now.
Okay. Okay. So, from the last time, talking about the last time we talked,
what? So 2 days ago?
The last time the last time for the chat live. Very Packers, they lost to the Vikings, but we're thinking they always split and all that, which can still happen today. But
AM.
Yeah, but the Packers season has, let's just say, has been underwhelming to say the least.
Ain't that the fucking truth?
Mm-hmm.
You don't mind me?
Oh, I don't mind. No, I don't mind that. I don't freaking mind. I want people to absolutely no filter or whatsoever. for the most part.
Yeah, I've got I Swear Like a Sailor off stream, but I completely forgot I was on air then.
Yeah, I'm not even monetized yet. I'm getting close to that though.
Cool.
It's about 700 some more hours to go. Perna cursed the Vikings this week. Do you think that'll have any factor into that, or not? Or will the Packers screw themselves over and curse themselves?
As much as it's a fun meme, I don't really buy into the whole Perna curse thing as much as most people do.
Got it.
It's a hilarious meme and always fun to joke about, but
right, I understand that.
I think enough teams at this point have beaten that curse that it's no longer really a curse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And the Packers, it feels like they sort of, I don't know, they just feel like there's a curse, especially when it comes to their defense and a guy named Joe Barry.
Send Joe Barry to prison. he can fucking share a jail cell with Pat Shermer.
Yes, absolutely. The Packers defense was looking like, well, promised at the start of the season to at the very least be a top 10, if not a top 5 defense. And now the Packers defense, in a lot of ways, has not lived up to that for the most part.
On paper, it should be a top 5 defense.
Mm-hmm. But you've, I don't
know. Going into the season, I expected the offense to take a step back. Not as much of a step back as it has, but a step back nonetheless. But I fully expected the defense to
save you, basically.
Level that out.
Yeah. So basically the offense maybe sort of on par or maybe even worse than what you expected, but the defense, you were thinking it would compensate for that.
And it hasn't even been close.
Yeah, it hasn't been close
even
at all.
Close.
So, I mean, what were your expectations for the offense? What were your expectations for Aaron Rodgers? And what do you think is going to happen with Rodgers, and what, going forward with that?
Are you talking about this weekend, or are you talking about me before the season?
Well, we can go this week. Well, we can start with this week, and then depending on what happens, whether they make the playoffs, not make the playoffs, or what's going to happen, like Aaron Rodgers as a whole, like we just, answer however you want to answer it.
I honestly am expecting a very mediocre performance from him this weekend, as we've seen all season. Won't be enough to light up the stat board, but won't be the nail that kills the game. That is all coaching and whether we actually decide to use what is, in my opinion, one of the best running back tandems in the entire league in Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon.
Yes.
I'm still wondering every single week why those two aren't getting the ball more.
Yes, as we run the ball.
Those two not getting the ball more, instead on 3rd and 1, 4th and 2, and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
Hero ball every single time.
I don't understand.
You know it as soon as the 2nd or 3rd down play is blown up. Even before the offense line up and you see shotgun with a single back.
If things don't go a certain way, then everything just collapses. And it just, I don't know. And how much do you blame the offensive production on Aaron Rodgers versus Matt LaFleur? Or do you blame both of them or their offensive coordinator?
I don't put that much on the OC because he's basically a figurehead yes man.
Okay.
All the offensive decisions come from LaFleur and Rodgers, and the blame for that has to go at their feet.
So equally, or one more than the other?
As good as LaFleur has shown himself in his time with us, I feel it goes more at 12's feet just because of how much experience he's got.
Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. And at least the one saving grace for your offense, which we don't know 100% sure if he will be playing this week or not, is your wide receiver one in Christian Watson, who in after week one, we were calling Christian Dropson.
I do remember last time I was on, I said some not so nice things about Christian Watson and would like to take this chance to formally apologize.
Yes, this is your chance to apologize.
You're a fucking stud, dude. Quack, quack,
quack, quack, quack, and stuff. Quack at the half of the Georgia Ohio State game. So,
Christian Watson has proven to be an absolute beast, and thank you for trading down with us to let us get him.
Yeah, I don't understand the trading and all of that. The Lions one was definitely worse. The Pack one at least made a little bit of sense, but with division opponent, it still didn't make.
You handed a wide receiver one to half the division.
I know.
In a space of 24 hours.
And Jameson Williams' only catch was a touchdown against us so far. Adam, do you think Dalvin Cook can have a day against the Packers defense? I mean, I feel like that's more of a question for Luke to ask, knowing your defense.
When does Dalvin Cook not have a day against us?
Oh, that's true. That's true. I mean, the Dolphins were running the ball early on, and they were doing good, and then they stopped running the ball, and then that's when they decided to roll over and turn the ball over.
I will be completely honest. I was not feeling well on Christmas Day, so I didn't even watch the game.
I see. So when you won, you're like, so how do you feel about the Pack? Like the Packers, they were on their way to go full on tank mode. And then they win now they've won 3 straight games. Yes, it was against the Bears and the Rams, and then the Dolphins, who are already on a descent. So how are you feeling now at 7-8, and you can actually still make the playoffs? Are you still in, I want the best draft pick, even though it might not even be that good? Or are you like, screw it, we're already, our draft pick is already busted, we'll just go for it. Go for it.
I am still in this team is no longer geared to make a run. And there's no point in getting a meaningless wild card berth just to allow the 49ers to re-up their ownership yet again.
Right, because with a win against us this weekend, it will pretty much make it so that San Francisco will jump up to the 2nd seed and play the Packers, unless somehow the Giants decide to go full on choke mode and lose their last 2 games, and then you could maybe jump up to the 6th seed.
And considering this weekend the Giants face Indianapolis,
we know a lot about Indianapolis and how they do and how they been rolling. That seems very unlikely. So basically, it is you make the playoffs and you play the Niners, or you don't make the playoffs and you'll get a better draft pick. Seems like the same scenario.
And that's the thing. Part of me wants it to be over this weekend so that we can at least get 1 week of Jordan Love.
Right.
But another massive part of me really wants to deny you guys the satisfaction of landing the final blow.
I see that.
So that is where my real conflict is.
True. That is true. I mean, technically, if we beat you, depending on some other scenarios, you might not be out. Like, for
Yeah.
example, if Cleveland beats Washington, then you would not. Well,
I
and Detroit. Well, Detroit. And
I
Detroit.
I I think both Washington and Detroit would have to lose.
Okay, because I think the only one you have advantage over is Seattle out of the playoff teams. I think.
I don't
Or
know.
I
I
hon-
honestly don't know.
I honestly will have to go through everything myself, but I know at least Washington for sure. If they win and then we beat you, you would be out because of the tie.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it's very conflicting to say the least. I can imagine that because I know how much expect that the rivalry. Really like Minnesota. Like I don't like Green Bay, and you don't want to give them the satisfactory. So I know. So are you fine? So it's basically in a way. Are you saying are you fine? Either you're sort of like in a way fine, or I don't know.
I'm not sure how I am, but I do have a very easy way of knowing when the time comes. It's something I learned about in a book about 5 or 6 years ago of
Mhm,
when you have to make a decision and
yeah.
it's between two, you
Mhm.
take a coin,
The coin.
you toss it, and not depend on how it lands, but how you react to how it lands makes your decision. If it lands heads and you
Mhm.
instantly feel disappointed, that must mean implicitly you wanted tails.
Ah,
If it lands on heads and you're fine with that, then implicitly you must have wanted heads.
okay. Okay. That's a very interesting way to think about that. Okay. So, trying to think what
Um, I'm,
else.
I'm not saying that's how I'll decide this weekend, but
Mhm. Now, considering that there are games, since we will find out the results of the games beforehand, because this game is America's game of the week, does that have a factor into how you're going to feel about this game? Because
no.
no. Okay. 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 Now, in regards to just this game, there was, let's just say, you may have seen it, but maybe it's just Viking fans that have seen it. But I've seen this. Jair Alexander, in one of his interviews, made a comment about Justin Jefferson week 1, how it was like a fluke. Did you see that by any chance?
I never actually heard Jair say it. I am well aware that he did.
Mm, okay. So, in regards to Justin Jefferson, I mean, I feel like you said it. You is he your your worst nightmare sometimes? Be gone, be gone, be gone, be gone. This game.
Yeah, I'm honestly starting to get a little irritated
Irritated. Wow.
with Jair Alexander. He's
Mm,
been talking so much shit to every number one receiver this year,
hmm
and he's having the worst year of his career, but except for last year where he spent most of it out injured.
Yeah, I can understand that. Because usually in the NFL, when you do talk smack, you normally are gonna lose beforehand. You know, gotta, and those are more motivators, I would
Uh,
say.
and as much as I hate to admit it, I don't know how you can ever call a game like that for a guy like Justin Jefferson a fluke.
hmm Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Well, one of the very few trades in NFL history both teams won.
yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And Justin Jefferson, maybe on his way to breaking the record. I understand the whole 17 game thing. He would need, I think, 200, just over 200 yards against the Packers if you want to get it within 16 games. I think.
How many does he need?
He needs 200 and to beat it, 209 yards.
And who do you have final week? Chicago,
Bears.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think he'll do it in 16, but I do think he'll do it.
Okay. Because like Justin Jefferson, it would be very hard because like to get it in one game, he did break his single season record. Game record in one game. And that was against the Lions where he got 223. But I know the Packers against Justin Jefferson is not good, but I don't think it's 209 yards. Bad. They're not 209 yards bad.
No, I do think he'll break it, but I think he'll need the Bears game to do it.
Yeah, I would agree with that at this time.
Considering our defense is incredibly underwhelming, but Chicago's defense is basically practice squad.
Yeah. Or it's like your, I was going to say like your hat, but I know it's not technically Swiss cheese, but it's still cheese with holes regardless. So there's that. And just thinking like, I'm trying to think what question I want to ask. So we talked about, how the season could end. But what your outlook going forward for the Packers, regardless if they make the playoffs or not, because it's either going to be one and done against the Niners or not make the playoffs at all. What is your outlook for the team?
As much as I don't want this to be the case, I think next season is a lost cause because I think 12 is coming back and this level of father time regression can't be undone. In which case, I honestly think we should do the right thing and see if Jordan Love can get a starting job elsewhere.
Yeah.
I do genuinely feel bad for how the team has basically ruined his early career.
Mm-hmm.
I get sitting behind a veteran. When he came into the league, Love was definitely a project.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not starting in your fourth season after being a first-round pick that the team who took you traded up for,
right,
then there's no justification still be on said team.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to lie, if I were Jordan Love, I would have handed in a trade request and gone public with it as soon as Rodgers signed an extension last offseason.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jordan Love, I feel like, has shown some flashes. I mean, you look at the Philadelphia game, and I definitely see some stuff in him.
The Philadelphia game this season, where he played well, I would even go as far as saying that in his one start last season against the Chiefs, he might not have been good, but he definitely outperformed what everyone was expecting from him.
Absolutely. I would agree with that.
So he need to give him a chance, but he definitely has the ability to start in this league, but we have basically fucked him out of that opportunity in his early career.
Right.
The only thing I would not do is I wouldn't accept any trade packages that involved a third-round pick. I'd say Fuck it, give us a fourth instead. We do not want that third.
No, third round picks are not the Packers' friends for whatever reason.
Far from it.
Far from it, indeed. And what do you think you have to draft for then? If we're talking draft, since we're bringing that up.
Can you draft a defensive coordinator?
You can. I mean, you can definitely bribe him.
No, I would say, possibly trade the third round pick for for this year for veteran safety to replace Darnell Savage, and then focus on a receiver to basically finish the receiver rebuild. I mean, I love the idea of Watson, Addison, Dobbs with Samori Toure as a backup. That basically complete the receiver room, and just some random veterans brought in as the number 5 in free agency on a 1-year deal each year. That basically complete the receiver rebuild. We definitely need an offensive tackle, because
David Bakhtiari, man.
Yeah.
He's going to be playing this weekend, but...
As much as I love Bakhtiari, his effective career is finished.
He's been through it all, and...
2 years ago today was that ACL tear.
And he really hasn't played in many games at all.
I fully agree with Tom. I think that ACL tear cost us a ring.
It cost you, I mean, it probably did cost you a ring, especially...
The big issue in that Buccaneers NFC Championship game, beyond Kevin King being a moron, was the protection from the offensive line.
Right.
Something David Bakhtiari definitely would have helped with. And as good as the Chiefs are, I think any team would have beat the Chiefs in that Super Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the one year I'm thinking, that's when that cost you a ring. And just the following year, I feel like the Niners were just, I don't know, they're just too good.
As much as I was acting confident, I had a really bad feeling going into that 49ers game.
Yeah, I don't know. The reverse, good feeling, but also like, I don't know, maybe about the Niners. So the Niners are a very sneaky team, and they can make a run this year with Brock freaking Purdy.
Mr. Relevant at this point.
Mr. Relevant at this point, yeah. Who can make the playoffs, and who can make a run in the playoffs, and the Vikings, if depending on who we play in the wild card, would probably have to face the Niners in the playoffs. And knowing how the Vikings are, let's just say a very lucky team. Is that the nice way of putting it?
A common way of describing it on Cheese on Sports this season has been you guys having a horseshoe rammed up your ass.
Yep, it was.
Which is even more fitting considering the real example of that was against the goddamn Colts.
I know. That was one of my favorite. The thing is, it was one of my favorite games ever. But then I'm like, oh yeah, the Bills game, like you can't make that stuff up, And I was full in on the.
That Bills game was one hell of a game.
Game of the year. I feel like at this point, it's going to be hard to top that one, in my opinion.
It's certainly in contention. It's between that and possibly the Thursday night game between the Chiefs and Chargers.
Oh yeah, from that far, yeah, that could be in contention too. Honestly, I feel like you could put every single Viking win, except the one against the Packers week 1 in there, just because of how thrilling those have been. So,
And I fully agree with Tree, though. This has got to be the sign of the end times. You guys are making clutch field goals. What is this world?
61 yards. I know. I literally said was on team, yeah, we're going to overtime, not going to make it, and then we make it. Just weird stuff like that.
Jesus Christ, Joseph, you're not Tucker. Don't become Tucker. Please. Please. Don't become Tucker.
And earlier in this season, I'm like, God damn, Greg Joseph was missing like an extra point every single game, and now these last weeks, now toward the end of the season, he's been clutch. And yeah. Hey Holly. Oh, hey Holly. Yeah.
Hey, Holly.
So yeah. So do you think the Vikings will be one and done in the playoffs, or it's going to depend on who they play in the playoffs?
Depends on who you play.
Okay. So if it's, I already know this. If it's Detroit, it's one and done, right?
I think you'd be one and done against Detroit. I honestly think you might even be one and done against Washington. I think
Washington, really?
I think you'd beat the Giants. I think you'd beat the Seahawks. And if we manage to pull off a miracle, I think you'd beat us.
Okay. Interesting that you bring in the Washington, considering it might be Carson Wentz and not Taylor Heineke. But, that would be an interesting concept to see. I honestly think it's just the Lions, but
I honestly think that Washington would be able to completely shut down Dalvin Cook and force Kirk Cousins to win the game with his arm, which
we beat Washington earlier in the season.
True, but that was before they had Chase Young back.
Thank you for reminding me that, Luke. Thank you. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But, we will have to see what happens in terms of both of our, in terms of that later on when we find out, especially what seed we get.
Before you ask, no, I'm not making a wager on this game.
Oh man! Oh damn! Darn! Nope. I was really gonna make a wager on this.
Nope.
No. Luke has learned his lesson, not to make a bet with me.
Not just. I'll happily do it again in the future at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Just not for this game.
Just after this game. I mean, we could have. I mean, hey, if we actually made a bet like yesterday, you would have won. But when the Timberwolves lost to the Bucks, we're leading at halftime like we did against the Pelicans, but we choke like we always do. But yeah. I think that and the Red Wings are pretty much keeping you up and about, I'm guessing then.
Yeah, the Bucks and the Red Wings have basically been seeing me over.
Okay.
Which, holy shit, what a start to the third period that was for the Wings tonight. Yeah. Went into the third period 2-1 down with 16 minutes left, 4-2 up.
Amazing. And as we're talking about the third quarter, Ohio State's up 35-24. So
yeah, I've got the game on in the background, but I haven't really been watching.
Yeah, it's just been interesting. That's been so many upsets. The upsets with TCU and now Ohio State beat Georgia. So So yeah, but I do want to appreciate you, Luke, for taking your time on this for you New Year's Day, for coming over here and talking some Vikings Packers. Oh, I didn't even get you. Oh, I forgot to ask. What what do you think the score is going to be, or who do you think is going to win this game? I should have asked that.
I think you win a one-score game.
Win a one-score game. Interesting that you mentioned one-score games. yeah, 11-0 one-score games. But so
some at like 31-23.
31-23. Yeah, I can see that a little closer this time because Lambeau Field. So yeah. So for anyone that wants to check out Luke and his channel, Mr. 100 subscribers now.
Thanks for helping me with that, pal.
No problem. No problem. Getting you that before the end of the year. I have the link to Luke's channel I put it in the chat right now. I'll pin it in the comment section of this video. Go check him out. You're gonna start back with the trivia for the new year. Is that correct, or have you decided on?
Yeah, and the first one will be this Wednesday.
Yes, because you're gonna be doing Wednesdays until the end of the NFL
South.
season. What?
Until the end of the South.
Oh, until the end of the South. I didn't know the end of the South or the end of the NFL season. Sorry.
No, yeah. The end of the South.
The end of the South. Got it. Copy that. Copy that. Which the final episode of the South will be this next on Tuesday, if not later, probably because of how much stuff is going to go into that video. So, yeah. So, thank you again, Luke, for and a lot of congratulations from Holly and Rebecca on your 100 subscribers. I wish the best for you, and tomorrow I hope it's a good game tomorrow.
Minimal injuries, hopefully.
Yeah, and if we do eliminate you tomorrow, it wouldn't be the worst. I guess it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. So, right? I don't know. But thank you all again. This has been Adam and Luke. Adam, also known as Minnesota Vikings Man 28. Hope each and every one of you out there, if you're in the States, have a happy new year. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning out this year to all the streams, game streams, and recaps and whatnot. So thank you all for that. So hope you have a great 2022. This has been Adam, also known as Minnesota Vikings Man 28. And as always,
go Pack, go.
I knew you were going to do that, Luke. I knew it. Skull. Happy New Year, everybody. See you tomorrow.
Happy New Year.